This is the Darling of the Forgotten State, unofficial OTS member, Noah Vale, and you're tuned in to the OTS Project.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the OTS Project, episode 13. Theo, what's going on as you are fidgeting with your pants?
There's a lot of fucking lint on the arm of my chair. It's weirdly on my right arm and not on the left arm of the chair. I don't know how this exactly happened. But
Okay,
I have
alright.
a very linty arm on my chair. And that's pretty much what's been going on throughout my entire week.
There you go.
No, but I mean, I've been working out. I just got back from the gym like 30 minutes ago. Like, right as I parked my car, I saw you texting me, and I was like, this is the second time this week this has happened. How does he know when I just parked my car at home?
No, I actually woke up not too long ago, let the dogs out. Was sitting downstairs eating a little hash brown. Totally oblivious to the fact that we had to record today. I was literally just sitting down there munching away on a hash brown, and then I was like, oh shit, it's almost noon, and we have a podcast to film. So that's why I texted you. Yeah, nothing crazy going on for me. I will say, entertainment-wise, obviously we watched Daredevil and whatnot, so we're gonna get your thoughts on that in a little bit. I read, well, not read, but audiobook-wise, I'm a big audiobook over reading guy. I like to listen, like big podcast guy and stuff like that, over like reading a magazine or a book or something like that. So I have listened to Soraya / Paige's audiobook, her autobiography on her life that just came out a few days ago. Paige has always been kind of in my top 3 female wrestlers. She's one of my favorites of all time. Back when she was in NXT, they still had the venue in Tampa where they used to have FCW before they moved and stuff. They still had the lease. So they would do like house shows every Thursday or whatever, and I used to go to a lot of them. So I got to meet her a few times and get a bunch of photos with her and whatnot, to the point where she kind of started calling me like her number one fan because I just enjoyed her work so much, and she was like, I see you all the time, and you're always very supportive. So yeah, I have always really loved her and enjoyed her work, so I made sure to get the audiobook when it came out. Incredible, I guess you could still say read, incredible book overall. Her story is pretty insane. It's a pretty tragic story, low-key. A lot of stuff happened to her and her family when she was kids. Even like her parents have a lot of like childhood trauma and stuff like that. Like the whole family has a lot going on and whatnot. So getting to, I know obviously they made, they have the that documentary they made of her like as she was coming over to WWE or whatever. Someone made a documentary on her whole family, which then obviously The Rock turned into a major motion picture. So like there is that story there a little bit. But I think her book kind of goes more in depth about stuff, and also talks about stuff that she, they don't cover in the movie or the documentary and stuff like that. So yeah, long story short, it was a really good listen, really good read, really good book. I'm very happy for her. Especially, I'm very happy to see the success off of, again, the amount of kind of crazy shit that has happened to her and her family in their life. To see her thriving and see primarily the rest of the family is also thriving is really cool. So anybody that was contemplating getting the book or getting the audiobook, I definitely highly recommend. It was really good. I listened to the whole thing in basically one day. It's like a 7-hour listen or something like that, so I just had it on the whole day while I was kind of hanging out. So that's basically the main thing I did entertainment wise this week was check out her audiobook. So other than that, if we're going to jump into some news and some discussion, I have labeled here, Theo, I don't know if you see it on the notes.
There are a few things on this list that I've read, and I'm like, what the fuck does any of this mean? You have to start with this first one, because I need you to explain this to me, because this, if this is a true thing, I'm going to lose my shit that I somehow missed out on this.
So, yeah, that was what I was about to say, was that first thing I put there, on the notes, ladies and gentlemen, it just says Camp Rock 3. Yeah, no, not happening. Not happening.
Well,
unfortunately,
way to get my fucking hopes up.
Unfortunately, not happening, and that's why I only put Camp Rock 3, just so you had a week to look at that and get excited for nothing.
I just now pulled this up. I'm not gonna lie. I just now pulled this up. I didn't.
Yeah, so there's this whole thing. I would say the whole family, my mom, me, you, Grace, we're all probably Rachel as well. We're all fans of the Jonas Brothers. We all really enjoy the Jonas Brothers. We grew up with the Jonas Brothers, their music,
We
Camp
we
Rock.
went to the Jonas Brothers concert.
That is true. That is true. Grace also went to a Jonas Brothers concert when she was young. There was like a Jonas Brothers Cheetah Girls concert or something like that her and my dad went to. So yeah, you, me, Grace, Rachel, we grew up with the Jonas Brothers, whether it was their music, Camp Rock, Jonas LA, or any other kind of thing they were tied into, like that that Friends for Change music video that everybody remembers. Yeah, so they have been doing. They did this thing called JonasCon this past weekend at it's not the Mall of America. I forgot what it's called, but there is basically a Mall of America sized mall in New Jersey where they obviously grew up. So they did this thing where they transformed the whole mall into like Jonas Brothers land, essentially, where they had a bunch of food and a bunch of little activities and stuff. But then they also had a bunch of like, obviously the Jonas Brothers performed a few concerts. They did one big concert. They had surprise like Big Time Rush show up, which was really cool.
Yeah, I saw that. That was dope.
They had a few members of the cast of Camp Rock and Camp Rock 2 that were there on like a podcast, something like that. So the giant Jonas Brothers concert at the end of the night was live streamed for free. So me and my mom were watching it on YouTube. And throughout the concert, it was a concert, but it was also like them dropping a bunch of news on what they're doing and stuff. So there's a bunch of stuff like this year they're doing some sort of theme song for like 70 years of Disneyland or something like that. They're also doing the theme song for the MLB this year, I guess. Like the whole MLB season will have a theme song by the Jonas Brothers. So long story short, no actual news on Camp Rock 3. However, the last announcement, I don't even remember what the last announcement was, but like at some point, Kevin Jonas just starts talking and he just goes, some more news we wanted to talk about, Camp Rock 3. And he just does that and the whole place blows up. Whole crazy place. Now, on my end, I was sitting there with my mother and I just go, before he said anything, I just look over to her. I go, how crazy would it be if they like announced Camp Rock 3 at this thing? And literally, as I finished saying that, Kevin Jonas goes, Camp Rock 3. And so me and my mom were like, whoa, what the hell? So yeah, he says that. The whole place is going crazy. And then he just goes, is a really fun idea. And then just moves on with the rest of his night.
Damn.
So he teased everybody. So not actual news, but I just thought that was kind of funny, something we could talk about. Hopefully it does happen, though. Obviously, it was a joke, but I also took it as maybe that's the Jonas Brothers' way of kind of sneakily telling the Disney execs, like, hey, we're down,
Yeah.
So hopefully that happens. Some actual news, though. The natural disasters, earthquake, typhoon, have officially been announced for the WWE Hall of Fame. As well as, I'll just tie this in, some really crazy news with the Hall of Fame. Matches are now I guess, able to be inductable into the Hall of Fame, starting with Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 13. Great match. I'm not complaining that that's in there. So I thought that was really crazy that now we're going to be inducting matches into the Hall of Fame, so that was pretty cool. I saw the news that before I saw the actual inductee, I guess, match, I just saw the news that it was happening. And so my crazy head goes, how wild would it be if we induct matches now and the first match they induct is Roman versus Cody from last year? I thought like that would have been the wildest thing ever. And I mean, I wouldn't have been mad about it. I feel like people probably would have been mad about it because they just would, not because of the match, but they would have been like, there's 1,000 matches that are 20 years, 30 years old that should be in there. But I just thought that would be funny as hell if that was the first match that they inducted in the Hall of Fame. But it definitely adds a new perspective, a new kind of thing in general just to the Hall of Fame. Makes it a little more appealing. It's always interesting to watch, but it definitely makes it a little more appealing. And we'll see for years. I mean, there are so many matches within WWE's history that are going to be in this thing. They definitely don't have a shortage of. They don't have to save anything. They got a lot.
If WLC doesn't make it into this Hall of Fame, it's fucking rigged. I don't care. It needs to be in there.
So that's definitely interesting. More news. Evolution 2 has not officially been announced, but I have been seeing. You good?
I don't know what this is. I
Oh,
don't know what Evolution 2 is. It can mean a great number of things.
so a few years ago, once I say this, you'll go, "Oh yeah." A few years ago, they did a all women's WWE pay per view called Evolution.
Yes.
Yes. So Evolution 2 had like the second, I guess, a continuation of that show. Uh, Fans have kind of wanted it for years. I know Bailey on the WWE, and Bailey for years in interviews and stuff like that has said multiple times she would love to see another Evolution pay per view, things like that. So it has not officially been announced by WWE. So I wouldn't say it's 100% confirmed, but I have been seeing a lot of reports that they plan on bringing it back this summer. So yeah, I'm excited for that. I thought the first pay per view was pretty good. The first time they did it was definitely interesting. So I'm down for another one. And I have a bunch of. I want to make a video if I get around to it on predicting the card for it, because I instantly, within like 2 minutes, I was able to come up with an idea of what I think they may do. And one of those big matches was Io versus Julia. I think that would be a crazy ass match. So yeah, not 100% confirmed, but I feel like most of the time you see it start circulating like that, it ends up being confirmed. So hopefully that is the truth. Any thoughts on that?
I think it would definitely. I think it would probably be honestly better than the first one. I think with the roster that we have now, like if we mix in
Yeah.
like, especially if we get like the women's roster over from NXT and have them fighting other people on like the main roster and stuff like that, I think that could definitely be a very very good PLE in this instance. That'd be
I
very
agree.
enjoyable to watch. Yeah.
We have a new SmackDown ring announcer. His name is Mark Shunock. He made his debut last night. He sounded pretty good. To me, he sounded a lot like Justin Roberts. I don't know if you... I know you probably didn't watch, but I don't know if you saw any clips of his announcing or anything like that. But
I did not.
he sounded a little bit like Justin Roberts to me. He was decent. It wasn't anything crazy. For his first time, though, I'd say it was a good job. My thoughts, though, were poor Mike Rome. I mean, not poor Mike Rome. He still has a job and whatnot, but like he was announcing at one point, like he was announcing SmackDown, and then like Samantha Irvin left, and everything got flipped upside down, and he got sent to NXT, and then yeah, I would have thought if they were bringing in a new ring announcer, they would have sent Mike Rome back up to SmackDown and put this guy in NXT, but that wasn't the case. So that's where I say poor Mike Rome. Although not that NXT is some downgrade or anything like that, but obviously you want to be just like the wrestlers, you want to be on the main roster, So definitely would have thought that that Mike Rome would have got called back up, but yeah. We have a live action Zelda movie that's in the works that has been officially confirmed by, I guess, Nintendo. I have not, like, I'm not, I like Zelda, I like Link more so, but I haven't really played, like, any of the games. I've always, like, my encounters with Link or even Zelda have more so been in, like, Smash Bros. And things like that. I haven't actually played, like, any of the Zelda games, at least not to, like, full extent. But I know this is something like obviously people have wanted for years. People are super hyped about it, so I'm definitely intrigued. I'll definitely probably go see it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, like you said, this has really been something that I think has been like circulated around like the internet for like years to come at this point, especially around the time when the Super Mario movie was being made and came out. I think people were like, okay, obviously the next step is Legend of Zelda. That's like their number 2 right there, so that would only make sense. It being live action is a bit of a surprise, I'd say. I thought they would go more for something like the Super Mario movie, where it's more like an animated movie. But I think it really, it's going to depend on who gets casted in this thing more than anything, because I think that's what's really going to make or break it. Yeah, no, thank you. But yeah, exciting stuff. I'll probably go see it with you. I think just because it'd be very interesting to see how they actually pull that off. I think there's a good number of stories they can do with that from across all the games that they've made. Because I feel like like with Mario, I feel like it's typically the same thing where it's like he's got to go through all the lands and he's got to stop Bowser and save Peach and stuff like that. But what I think with Legend of Zelda, it's a lot more like different stories throughout all of his games and whatnot. And so I think it'd be very exciting to see what they exactly do with that plot wise.
No, for sure. I'm definitely intrigued. So that's kind of all the news. There's obviously, if anybody's listening, there might be something that's looming and missing here. The Avengers Doomsday cast has been announced. We did a whole bonus episode on this though. I thought more so like it was way too big to kind of just cram this into our news segment and I was right because the bonus episode ended up being an hour in itself. So we're not skipping that. We're not ignoring that. It happened. Huge names like Alan Cummings, Ian McKellen, Channing Tatum, all coming back to a lot of the original X-Men. So yeah, we did a whole episode on that. So if you want to see us talk about that, go check that out. It's on the YouTube and it's on the WNRN Spotify page. We are not skipping over it, but I will add to it that after this 5-hour live stream had happened, I feel like I sent it to you. Marvel did confirm that this is not the full cast. It is not the full cast. That they said there are more coming. I know there's, I think, a CinemaCon going on this weekend or something like that, as well as obviously you have Comic-Con in July that, you know, Marvel has come back to for the most part. So I feel like either at CinemaCon or at Comic-Con is where we'll get the you know, the icing on top of the cake and the final kind of pieces of who's going to be in there. Because like we also talked about in the bonus episode, a lot of people that were not named, such as Tom Holland or Brie Larson or Benedict Cumberbatch. So yeah, go check that episode out. But there apparently is still more names to come. But moving into Daredevil, episode 5, episode 6, we have seen it. Or seen them. I thought they were fun episodes. I thought episode 5 is definitely a filler episode, but I actually thought it was a really enjoyable filler episode. I thought it was very fun. For a Daredevil show, I thought it was actually really, really fun. We got a surprise with that one, too. We got Yusuf Amir, or Yusuf Khan, I mean. Not Yusuf Amir. Mm-hmm. Fuck that guy. Yusuf Khan, Kamal Khan's dad from Miss Marvel and the Marvels. Yusuf Khan has come back to the MCU. He was in there. He is a bank manager or whatever it is in New York. I thought that was a fun little surprise. I thought it was fun. What'd you think?
I thought it was definitely, he was my favorite character, honestly, of the whole like Miss Marvel show. I loved his character so much. So to see him return, I thought was very nice to see them bring him back. I thought that whole episode was actually very fun. I enjoyed it as well. I know it was a little bit more of a filler, but it didn't even really feel like a filler episode. It just kind of felt more like this is kind of like quintessentially what Daredevil is as like a street crime fighter sort of thing, like a bank robbery sort of situation. Seems like his bread and butter, or would be bread and butter for what he would do as like a superhero. That's not like chasing after like actual named characters or supervillains or anything like that. Like this, because I mean, like when you read like comic stories like that, this kind of stuff also happens as well. So it would make sense for it to happen in the show as well. It's like not something that you would gloss over. It's kind of just like how Spider-Man, he always is stopping just like other petty criminals and whatnot. And I wish we would get to see more of that, because I know we did get to see it a good bit in like Homecoming and whatnot, but they've kind of sort of delved away from that to get into more multiversal stuff,
right?
Which has its own ups and downs, but you kind of forget about this whole like ground level stuff that kind of makes these like street level crime fighters what they are, and the excitement that comes from that.
For sure. Yeah, I thought it was a very fun episode. I remember telling you when you did watch it that there was something in there that made me start thinking. Well, first off, I love the Funko Pop that he has of his daughter just chilling on his desk.
I was like,
I thought that was really cool. But yeah, I have a theory. Within the episode, when Yusuf is talking to Matt, they start talking about his daughter and whatnot, and Yusuf says, "Oh yeah, she's currently visiting friends in California." Now somebody, because I had commented this on like some TikTok I saw or something like that, and somebody did tell me, I guess it slipped my mind, that I guess Bruno from the show did say he was going to college in California. But it doesn't kill my theory, because it could actually help tie into it. We saw at the end of the Marvels, spoiler alert, we saw, Kamala kind of recruiting Kate Bishop to her Young Avengers kind of project or whatever it is. I fully believe that whether she went there to go see Bruno or she just went on her own, I think her being in California and then mentioning her being in California is them planting the seeds for her going and recruiting Cassie Lang, because obviously Cassie lives in California. So that's a small little theory. As soon as I heard that, I instantly went, I think Kamala went to go recruit Cassie after she went and got Kate, and maybe Kate went with her or something like that. But I definitely think that's them planting the seeds, and then in some project, I'm not sure what project, but in some project we'll see Kamala actually recruiting Cassie to her Young Avengers team. So yeah, that's a small little thing.
I can see that happening, yeah.
And then episode 6, we kind of got back into the the craziness. This is definitely the most we've seen Muse in the show so far. Man, what a crazy motherfucker! This man is just straight murdering people. As I looked into the character, I realized, yeah. So the whole idea of the character is that he is a murderer. He's a serial killer, but he uses his victims as art, which then we saw in the episode where he was using, his victims' blood to paint these murals on walls and things like that. Got really dark when he got Hector's niece or whatever, and he was like killing her. That it was getting pretty dark. I was like, "Come on, Daredevil! Come on, Daredevil! Where are you? Like, this is getting kind of messed up." And then obviously we got Matt back in the suit. I don't know about you, but if I'm not gonna be down in the subway like that anyways. But if I was, and I looked around the corner and I saw a man in a devil costume running at me full sprint, I'm just giving up. I'm just like, you know what, you win. But yeah, I thought it was another good episode. Again, we kind of got back on track. It with the main story and whatnot. Yeah, I thought it was good. I loved the ending kind of parallels of Matt and Fisk both finally giving in to their violent urges as it cuts between the two. And I don't know about you, but the way they cut it and the way there were certain sounds, it almost seemed like they were almost a wall between each other. Like, it almost seemed like Fisk was just doing this stuff on the other side of the wall from where Muse's hideout was. Like, it seemed like they were pretty close in proximity to each other. I don't know if that's true or not. It's just like the vibe that I got. But yeah, overall, it was a really good episode as well.
I mean, they're both kind of like basement-esque hideouts sort of things, so
Right.
I guess it can make sense that where they're pretty much on the same level height-wise and whatnot. But yeah, another very good episode. I don't know if you exactly noticed it or remembered it, but Jack from the Hawkeye show showed up, and I thought that was pretty good because I was very happy to see his character because I really liked his character in that show and that actor himself. I don't exactly know his name. I could probably look it up real quick, but Tony Dalton. Yeah,
There you go.
I very much so enjoy him. He was in the Better Call Saul show as Lalo, and that's like my favorite character in that whole universe. I think he's a great actor. I really like the character, and I liked him coming back. Again, Muse, as you said, was a very violent, dark motherfucker using blood in his artwork and whatnot. I thought it was a crazy twist. I don't even really know how it's possible, but I mean, he found a way to do it.
Figured it out.
Yeah, but it was definitely getting very close there with White Tiger's niece there. I did think she was just gonna die, and that Matt was just gonna be too late, and that was gonna be more turmoil onto his character and whatnot. But yeah, the parallels between him and Fisk, kind of going back to their base instincts of their characters, was it's the other side of the quintessential Daredevil coin of just the darkness that they have to face within their own characters and whatnot, and the turmoil that they have to deal with themselves.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they're definitely like two sides of the same coin. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. Like, obviously Kingpin is horrible and whatnot, but they are kind of similar to how dissimilar they are at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, another thing I did notice, that character came back from Hawkeye. In the comics, he is called the Swordsman. So something I did notice that I didn't see anybody else pick up on, or not. I'm sure other people did pick up on it, but not too many people, and I didn't see anybody post about it. In that little compilation in the beginning of in the beginning of that episode, they did talk about certain vigilantes that are still whatever. They show Swordsman on a subway track, like fighting people. And then quickly after that is when they cut to that scene. Okay, there you go. Yeah, because then quickly after that they do cut to the scene of them, and they show him back. So yeah, I thought that was cool. Like, he's he was always like in Hawkeye. He was kind of like a goofy ass character, kind of a funny character. So I do like the idea that I feel like if they do explore it, it's gonna be like an idea of like he just thinks because he's rich and because he has these skills that he can go out and be a vigilante, but I would love to see him just failing miserably every time he goes out there. Someone just like kicks his sword out of his hand and just beats the shit out of him or something like that. So yeah, that was a small thing I noticed, and I guess some other people probably noticed. Like, he is out there active as Swordsman.
The second I saw that Swordsman doing like the fighting and stuff like that, I was like, "There's only one motherfucker I've ever seen in this universe that's sword fighting like that." and I really hope it's him. And then it was, and then he did show up again. And I was like, they're connecting the dots. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. I do like the small, almost world building, and it's a good way, like, for Daredevil, it's a good way to cement, like, hey, he's in the MCU now. Because, like, with the Netflix show, that was always supposed to be in the MCU, and there's like, I think there's a few things, like, in one of the earliest episodes of season 1, there's, like, a newspaper that says something about the attack on New York, and things like that. But they never fully, like, nobody from the MCU ever shows up in any of those Netflix shows and things like that. They never really focus on any events. So to get him in the MCU and then have characters like Yusuf and Swordsman show up definitely helps kind of cement it in the MCU. So I really enjoy that. While at the same time, they're not just there for no reason, obviously. Like, they're there to kind of either set some seeds, like I said, for Yusuf talking about Kamala being in California, or I'd imagine Jack being there. I think that's his name, right?
Yeah, Jack.
Him being there, I'm sure, is setting up for him to come back in a Hawkeye season 2 or in season 2 of Daredevil, maybe just being a bigger character or something like that. So definitely enjoy it. I'm loving the show so far. I think it's incredible. They've done an incredible job. I know I've seen some people really not enjoying the show, and I don't understand it because to me, it's very similar to the original show, and so I don't understand how people aren't enjoying it. If they enjoy the original show, I don't know how you don't enjoy this, because it really doesn't feel like a reboot or a side thing. It feels like it's just season 4 of Daredevil, you know? So, I don't know. But I'm enjoying it, you're enjoying it, and the main consensus I do see is that a lot of people are enjoying it, and so that's good. I know they're filming season 2 right now. I did just see some set photos of Charlie Cox in the black and red Daredevil suit. So that's really cool. I don't know if you had seen it, but I saw it, like, it was popping up a lot. Because they filmed the scene a couple days ago, and they didn't really hide it. They were just out in the street in New York somewhere filming the scene. But the primary black with the red accent suit, I guess, is coming into season 2. So that's really cool. And I believe they were filming another fight scene with Bullseye when they were filming that. So can't wait for more of that. So yeah, that's kind of all of the news that we have today. So, Theo, let's get into our actual main topic. You know, we primarily are kind of talking about wrestling with a dash of, it's primarily wrestling with a heavy dose of Marvel and a little dash of Star Wars, but I figured let's switch it up even more. Let's diversify the podcast even more. So we're going to talk about our top 5 Disney rides. The past 2 weeks I've been on a bit of a Disney kick. I haven't been going. Obviously, I don't have a season pass, and I'm not paying $100-something to go. But I always like to enjoy watching other people go. So I've been watching a lot of videos on not even just Disney, but Universal, obviously, with Epic Universe coming and things like that. So I've been on a big Disney World and kind of like watching videos on the international parks of Paris and Japan and stuff like that. So I figured, you know what, let's do top 5 Disney rides. So I have a few honorable mentions. I know you do too. So I'm just going to raffle mine off. For honorable mentions for me, I got Big Thunder Mountain, Buzz Lightyear, whatever the hell is Space Ranger Spin in Disney World. And also, these are going to be Disney World. We live in Florida. Neither of us have been to Disneyland in California or Disney's California Adventure or anything like that. So this is going to be Disney World. So yeah, Big Thunder Mountain, Buzz Lightyear, Space Ranger Spin, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, the Little Mermaid ride. That might be a little crazy to some people, but I just really love that ride. And that's a good ride to just get the hell out of the Florida heat for 15 minutes or whatever it is. And it's just very pretty to look at. Slinky Dog Coaster, Dinosaur, Everest, and Test Track. Those are my honorable mentions. Dinosaur, that was a ride that I had never ridden until, a couple years ago. Maybe my first time. Oh no, my first time was definitely riding it with Pepperfield. But I think your first time may have been riding it with me when we went in like 2018. So I had never ridden that ride, but I love that ride. I think that ride is fun as hell. It's so simple. It's just a Jeep in a dark ride, but just the way it accelerates and it lifts up and turns and stuff, very fun. And I like that they're...
We definitely had a lot of fun on that ride, I remember.
Yeah. And they're turning it into Indiana Jones because it is... that ride is just a copy from California, which is Indiana Jones, so they're finally just turning it into Indiana Jones, which I think is just going to make it even better for us because we didn't really have a connection to the dinosaur movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, no sentimental connection. Whereas... I'm not a huge Indiana Jones fan, but I do like it. I know you're a big Indiana Jones fan, so I think it's definitely gonna be even more enjoyable now that it's gonna be Indiana Jones. So yeah,
Right.
those are my honorable mentions. Theo, what do you got?
I've got a good few honorable mentions as well. I've got Space Mountain, Haunted Mansion, Everest, Star Tours, Pirates of the Caribbean. I also threw in a few Universal rides because I felt like there are some Universal rides that I think would make my top 5 if we were talking about them. But since we're just doing Disney, I decided to just keep them as honorable mentions. I've got Spider-Man, I've got Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure, The Incredible Hulk Coaster, and Transformers The Ride. And then I told you about this before we started the episode. I have some dishonorable mentions because there are some rides that I think are just so bad that I need to voice my opinion on them and fight somebody about it. And
Yeah.
it might be you in terms of one of these rides.
Uh,
But my dishonorable mentions are Big Thunder Railroad, which I think they are refurbishing, if I'm not mistaken, or like working on in some way.
you mean like the actual? I'm confused. Like the roller coaster, or are you talking about like the train?
The train. Or
Okay,
not the
yeah,
train,
I think-
the roller coaster, the whatever the fuck it is.
Oh, yeah, the roller coaster.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't remember if they're like changing it or not. I'm not sure.
Okay. Journey
But I
into
disagree.
Imagination with Figment.
Well, I will disagree with Big Thunder Mountain. I think it's fun as hell. I don't
Journey
really
into
care that.
Imagination with Figment.
I don't really care that I don't really care that my spine is all messed up by the time I get off of that coaster. I still think it's fun as fuck.
No, I can't justify it. Neither can I justify fucking Figment. That ride is actually terrible.
Yeah,
I don't
I agree
understand
with you on that one. I
And
will
then-
go with you on that one.
And then my last one, this is the one you'll disagree with me for sure on, is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Wow.
I cannot justify. I don't like. I remember when we rode it last. It was you, me, Grace, and fuck.
It was no. Last time we rode it was you, me, Logan, Grace, Maddie, and Leah.
Was it? Did we not
Yeah.
ride it when Grace came down and? No. Okay, I don't know.
That's
Okay.
the last time I think we primarily all have been to Magic Kingdom.
Okay, then yeah, that would. I guess that's
Yeah.
when it was.
Well, we
last,
rode it.
but
We rode
I
it.
feel like
We rode it twice that day.
did we?
Oh wait, no. You weren't there yet. I'm sorry. Yeah, I rode it twice that day. Me, Grace, Maddie, and Leah rode it, and then when you and Logan got there, we went and rode it again. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I remember riding it that day, and I think that may have been like the second or third time I rode it, and I was like, the only thing I could think of throughout the entire ride was just, is this going to get better at any point? And then the ride ended, and I was like, I waited like an hour for that? That's ridiculous.
I will say I enjoy it, but I will say it's not a thrill ride. It's definitely more for the views, but it also like okay, you could say you don't like it, but you can't deny that the part where you're in the mine and they have the animatronics doesn't look cool as hell.
No, I mean it does look cool, but I mean it's just like the ride itself. I feel like it's only really like I think 30 seconds to like a minute tops or something like
Yeah.
that, and it's not very like fun as a ride throughout that entire point. So when I'm waiting 60 minutes for it and then we get on it and it's just that, I'm like, well, that just seems like I wasted an hour. I could have been doing something else with that hour.
Right.
I could have been on.
I think
a
also
ride
I
actually
have
enjoyed.
I think I have a sentimental value because that was a ride that my mom is not a big rides person, but that was a ride that she rode waringly. She rode, very cautiously. She rode it one time, but then she loved it, and so like anytime we went to Disney after it had opened, that was a ride that was like a must do if we were at Magic Kingdom. So like I have more sentimental value to it because it's like the ride of like our family where we always rode it, and it's definitely better. It's crazy to say it because it's like you would have to time it perfectly, but it's better when the fireworks are going off. I've ridden it, we timed it to where the fireworks are going off, and you come out of like the mine and you're going down the hill, and as you go down the hill, you see fireworks going off. That shit's cool as hell. That shit's cool as
Okay.
hell. So yeah, I mean I disagree with you. I think it's a fun ride. It's not the best ride ever. That's why it's only an honorable mention. But I think it's fun. There was what was some of the other ones because there was something else I wanted to say.
Figment.
Yeah. Okay. So that I totally agree with you. Get rid of that damn ride. Yeah, I had never ridden it until you and I rode it. It was not a ride that like I rode as a kid or anything like that. Um, but we rode it just for the hell of it, just to like kill some time when we were at Epcot a couple years ago. Uh, it's primarily just very boring and very stupid. But then a gunshot goes off and scares the shit out of everybody in the building. And then it just turns into like an acid trip, and it's like it's funny. It's actually funny, genuinely, because we were just laughing our asses off. But not because it's funny in the way of it's awesome. It was funny in the way of this is so bad. This is almost Fast and Furious levels of horrible. So yeah, I agree with you on that one. Get rid of Figment. If I had to throw in some rides I want to get rid of, this one might be sacrilegious to Disney fans. I want Small World gone.
Which one?
It's a Small World.
Oh yeah, that one almost made my dishonorable mention list.
Yeah, I can't get behind it, man. As a kid, I feel like as a kid, most people probably enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it as a kid, but as an adult, anytime I've ridden that ride, I kind of like you said with Mine Train, I'm like, I've waited 30 minutes, 40 minutes to get on this thing, and it's just a very slow boat ride where they just sing the same thing. There's not, it's just constantly, there's a few lines, but in general, it's just mainly, it's a Small World after all, and they just keep singing it, and the boat ride is like 15 minutes long in itself, so you just have to sit in this slow-ass boat ride listening to the same 3 words being said, or 4 words being said, and it is just terrible. I know it's a Disney classic, it's in like every park, but I want it gone. I can't stand it. So that is one of them. Figment is another one I would say get rid of. 2 more I'll give you. I have never ridden it, but Mission Space. I have heard nothing but horrible reviews of that ride. It's been there for like 20 years, and people just get violently sick on that ride. Like, people legitimately get nauseous and throw up. So I don't know who's enjoying this ride, but I would say get rid of it, and I will never ride it. And my last one, this is crazy. This might be crazy. This is another sacrilegious one. Get rid of Pirates.
Whoa!
I do not care for that ride. It's similar to Small World. It's just a 15-minute slow-ass boat ride where I'm looking at almost nothing.
That's kind of wild. That's kind of
Yeah.
It's one of my honorable mentions. I enjoy it. I think it's
Why?
it's one of those. To me, it's one of those.
I
rides
like that pirate animatronic.
I do.
That's all I can think of. That's all I can think of.
But I mean, realistically, it is one of those rides where I do ride it just to get out of the heat. But I do like the theming behind it and whatnot. I think.
Well, yeah. I mean,
the
in
animatronics
general,
aren't like amazing or anything like that.
Right.
But I still do think it's one of those like Disney classics.
you also really enjoy those movies, so like
That's true.
it kind of makes more sense. Whereas when I watched those movies like in 2020, I think during the pandemic, and I was like, yeah, the first one was cool. The rest of them I was just bored out of my mind. So like I didn't really care. So again, I don't really have a connection to the IP. Whereas like if Hollywood Studios opened up a super slow Naboo boat ride, I'd be like, this is the best ride ever. Never get rid of this ride. You know.
Naboo
So
boat ride.
that's the first thing I could think of.
Buddy, that's
So yeah,
Star
let's
Tour.
dive in. Let's dive into our actual top 5, and I'll start because you just revealed my number 5. For number 5, I'm going Star Tours.
Dude,
The adventure continues.
I fuck with Star Tours so much because that ride is always, always, always at a 5-minute wait time, no matter what
Yeah.
day of the year. It's always 5 minutes, and I love it.
I think the most I've ever seen it was like 30 minutes.
Right,
But even
exactly.
then, I think I stood in the room with like 3PO and R2 and the ship or whatever. I think I stood there for maybe 5 minutes, and then it was pretty much a walk on. Like, it's really not bad. The reason, so as a kid, this was my number 1 because it was the only Star Wars ride in the park for 20 years. So it was my number 1. However, it has fallen down because just for the simple fact that I can't ride it anymore. Now, the past like 3 times I have ridden it, I've gotten horrible motion sickness, and I've almost thrown up. So, yeah, I can't ride it anymore. So I had to drop it down the list because at one point it was my favorite ride, but I feel like if I can't ride it anymore, it has to drop down the list. Plus, in the time of me being a kid and now, there have been multiple rides that have opened that are just in general way better, and we have a whole Star Wars park, essentially. So, like, drop down my list. But Star Tours, I do have fond memories of as a kid. It was my favorite at a time. For years, it was my favorite. I always enjoyed it. As a kid, my parents, anytime we would go to Disney, I would always, like, I'd be like, all right, let's go Hollywood Studios, and my mom would just be like, no, pick any other park, because I guess as a kid, I always said Hollywood Studios just because I wanted to go ride Star Tours, and so my mom was like, we've been to Hollywood Studios like 50 times at this point, just so you could ride the Star Wars ride. So we're pick Epcot, Animal Kingdom, or Magic Kingdom because we ain't going to Hollywood Studios. But yeah, I have fond memories of childhood. Definitely really enjoying that ride.
Yeah, that's a very good one. It was one of my honorable mentions. I mentioned that I love like just how short the wait time is pretty much nowadays, especially since now they have the whole Star Wars land. It's like something that a lot of people don't really like consider going on. I'm always hitting this ride up every single time I go over to Hollywood Studios. I just brought my one friend on that ride, and they had never even really like seen Star Wars or anything like that, and they still had a very fun time with it. And I was just like dumping Star Wars lore to them for like an hour straight, and it was great. I enjoyed that a lot. But
I
it's
even
definitely
think, I even think like there's been times where we've gone with Rachel, and Rachel does not care about Star Wars, but she had the time of her life riding that ride. Like anybody could really enjoy that ride. And before we move on to your number 5, there's a small thing. One time, this is so crazy, and maybe if a listener is listening and they can give me more context on this, that would be great. There was one time I was waiting in line for Star Tours, and this had been an actual wait. Like we were waiting in that first room for a little while.
right.
And I legitimately saw Darth Vader walk by. So like up where Admiral Akbar is in that first room, and then there's a walkway that cast members can come out of. I genuinely, and maybe this was connected to the Jedi Training Academy or whatever. I genuinely was standing there and looked over and just saw Darth Vader walking down that ramp, and I was like,
Fuck.
like that crazy. And I was a kid. I'm like maybe 8 years old. So like as a kid, I'm like, like now I'd still be like, oh shit, Jack or Theo, look, like, oh shit, that's cool, Darth Vader. But I wouldn't be like surprised. I'd be like, oh, that's pretty cool. As a kid, I was genuinely like, is shit about to go down? Like, what the hell? What's am I about to have to like throw hands with Darth Vader or something? So yeah, small little thing. At one point, I did see Darth Vader full costume. Someone just dressed as Darth Vader, just walking down that ramp.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
My number 5 is going to be Avatar: Flight of Passage. So I only have seen the original Avatar movie. I saw that. What the fuck was that? I'm so sorry.
That's what they scream.
Users.
That's what they scream.
I'm so sorry. That was
Yeah.
that got me, and I'm not even wearing headphones. That was insane. But yeah, I've only seen the original movie. I haven't even seen the new ones, but I've ridden this ride like 2 or 3 times. We rode this ride like twice in one day.
Yeah, I was actually just telling my mom that story.
Yeah.
So if you want, you can elaborate to the crowd.
Yeah. So essentially, we wanted to go to Animal Kingdom because I had never gone to Animal Kingdom up to that point, and I had like 2 or 3 day ticket pass or whatever, and I wanted to go because I had never gone, and that ride had like just came out or recently came out, and so we got on there. I think it was like one of the first rides we did that day because the line was just so long and we just wanted to hit it up early.
It was.
And it was like
so we had. I don't want to cut you off. We had a fast pass for like noon, but we had gotten there at like 9 a.m. and so we had nothing to do until noon. So we were like, it was like an hour and a half wait, and we were like, fuck it.
Yeah. We waited in that line. I think it was like a 100-minute wait or something like that. It was definitely like a longer wait for sure. I do want to say I think this is probably one of the best like queues or lines. I think throughout all the Disney rides, throughout all the Disney parks, I think this shit is fucking amazing because it goes from like the beautiful like tree and the world of Avatar into like the laboratories and whatnot, and you get to see them experimenting on the fucking Navi or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Blue people.
So I will add, it is so cool. We have a photo that I'm probably not going to insert here because then I gotta go find it. But we do have a photo a selfie that we took in front of this thing. It's so cool, but I ain't gonna lie, it is kind of fucking creepy. I have
it's
weird
creepy, but I fuck with it.
Yeah, I have like a weird phobia of animatronics. Especially too, I don't like the one animatronic on the other Avatar ride. I don't like how it moves, and I don't like how close you get to it. But in there, even though it's in a glass tube, in a room, like there's like there's a room inside of a room. If this thing was real, I don't know how it's getting out. But just anytime I've ridden that ride and I stand there, I am kind of just in my head being like, "Get me out of this room! Get me out of this room! Get me out of this room!" Because I also don't like how it just like subtly moves. Like every once in a while, you just see it like jerk in the water. I don't like it, but it is cool. But I don't like it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's dope. Even the ride itself, I do very much so enjoy. I think it's very unique in where it has that like group of people that are all kind of on like the same thing, doing the same like motions and whatnot as they're like flying through pretty much the Avatar world, but
Yeah,
as like
Pandora.
a single like person experience because you're all on your like own thing and you're all like, because like me and you could be right next to each other and we could be like, we're both flying this thing, but it's still cool because it's like you're individually flying your own thing as you're going through the world. So I think that's a pretty fun way to kind of make it your own, but also make it like a group experience sort of thing. And
Right.
it's very fun. The fucking dip, that one like big dip you go down into, I think that's like one of my favorite parts of that whole ride. I
Yeah.
love that one so much.
Yeah, that was something that was going to be on my honorable mentions, but I was just like, I have too many, so I'll just leave it off. But I enjoy that ride as well. It's very fun. Like you said, the queue is very in depth, whether it's in the bioluminescent forest or in the lab with the creepy ass animatronic. And yeah, just the ride in general. I like the experience of going into that one room and the doctor's talking to you and they spray you for, whatever. Da 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 da. Da. Yeah, in general, it's a really good ride. I'm not mad that you got it on your list for sure. My number 4 is kind of a sleeper pick, but as a kid, this was another one of my favorite rides. I'm going Haunted Mansion, baby. Yeah, top tier ride. I feel like a few years ago it wouldn't have been a sleeper pick, but I feel like now with as many rides and as much technologically advanced rides, it's probably not on as many people's lists now. But yeah, I remember as a kid for a while I was scared to ride this ride because I thought it was like a horror ride and scary and terrifying. But obviously it's really not. Like maybe for a little kid it probably is a little jarring, But for the most part it's really not that scary. It just has a spooky vibe, not actual scary vibe. So I've always really enjoyed it. There's not much else I could say because it is a pretty basic ride, but I just the way it's set up and the way it is, I just really really enjoy it, and I've enjoyed it for years.
This is another one of my honorable mentions. I'm more of like a thrill ride person. Like I love like the thrill rides. I love the high speed and stuff like that. Unless it's like the drop tower shit. I hate the drop tower shit. I'm not doing that shit. But thrill ride, roller coasters, stuff like that, I'm
Yeah.
down for that. So I couldn't really realistically place it in my top 5, but it is an honorable mention. I love the vibe of it. I think thematically, this is probably one of the top 5 Disney rides of all time.
Yeah, for sure.
I have one friend that went to like Disneyland Paris, and they like took videos and showed me like the Haunted Mansion there, and I really wish they kind of did a similar thing with that one here because it focuses a lot more on like the outside of the castle as well in part of its queue, which is like amazing looking. And I think that's
Yeah.
really one of the big issues I have with this one is that it's mostly like condensed forest. Like you can't really see all that much of the Haunted Mansion from the outside. And I think that's very unfortunate because I think a lot of that creepy vibe, kind of similar to like a Scooby-Doo sort of thing, is like seeing like this dark gothic castle off in the distance and whatnot. And then you're going inside and you're like going around ghosts and whatnot. And I think it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, the Magic Kingdom queue is really like the outside part is really just you're under a gazebo with a giant like fence in the way, so you don't really see anything. There is the one part where you're supposed to go through that almost like cemetery area, but depending like you don't really like it depends on the day. It's kind of an extended queue area. Like most people, you don't have to go through that part. So yeah, like most of the time, yeah, you're just under a gazebo. But I also get it because Florida, they got to do something because it's like if the queue was just out in front of the thing the whole time, you would have people definitely passing out from heat stroke. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, or it rains so much here that either you're getting heat stroke or you're going to get rained on. At least if you're under the gazebo, where you're under a gazebo about to go into a building, you're going to miss the rain. So
Yeah.
I do get it, but I agree with you. Like the queue could be better, at least from the outside. Something I've always wanted that I never kind of got was they don't do in Disneyland. They do the Nightmare Before Christmas layover for like Halloween and Christmas. They don't do that here, so I've never experienced it. But we both love Nightmare Before Christmas, so I wish they would do it here because I've seen so many videos of it. And it looks so fun. And it looks so like I guess, cute. You could say, like, it looks really like just adorable, and never got to experience it. So I would love them to at some point bring it over here.
Yeah, that'd be dope. My number 4 is
Dope.
going to be
Dope.
Slinky Dog Dash.
Dope. Okay. All right.
Another
Here we
one
go.
of your honorable mentions. This is another
Here we go.
thrill ride for me, sort of thing. You and me have ridden this ride, I think maybe 2 or 3 times, and every single time I've ridden this ride, I've had the most fucking fun time ever. Like, I'm always coming off that ride just like after hysterically laughing at something. I think the most recent time you and me rode this ride, you and I were just doing our Dutch and Arthur impersonations the entire ride, and there were other people in our cars like laughing at us doing these impressions like they understood what we were doing.
That thing's gonna come back into play on my list. I can tell you that. But yeah, honorable mention for me. I enjoy that ride. I think it's fun. I think it's a good time. It's just a fun little family coaster. Like, there's nothing too crazy about it. I feel like anybody could ride it. Again, my mom is kind of scared of stuff like that, and anytime she sees a video, she's kind of wary of it. But I'm like, it's really nothing. I'd say the biggest kind of oh shit moment is like kind of that first hill where it's like a hill, but you're going sideways. There's been a few times where I'm like, oh, all right, that makes me a little uneasy because it's like very tilted that you almost feel like you're gonna fall or something like that. Other than that, it's just a family ride. Like, it's really nothing too crazy, but it is very fun. Since putting it on my honorable mention list, as I just said a second ago, I have been doing nothing, but every once in a while throughout the day, I just go, here we go! And it's actually starting to annoy me that I keep doing it. So yeah, I remember the first time I was supposed to ride this. This is a Theo Kyle lore. Somehow you're roped into this. So is Dr. Eric Christopher. He's roped into this.
Yep.
The first time I was supposed to ride this, I was at Hollywood Studios. It was me, my sister, and her friends. And Toy Story Land had just opened. We were checking it out. And we got on Toy Story Mania. And we had a Fast Pass for Slinky Dog. Somehow I got us a Fast Pass, or maybe it was a DAS return time or something. Somehow I got us a pass for Slinky Dog at like 3:15. We got off of Toy Story Mania, and we were about to head over to Slinky Dog. And you, me, and Eric had planned to go to an NXT live event in Largo that night. And so the plan was you were just going to drive there. Eric was going to pick me up from Disney. We were going to drive, and then on the way home, you were still living down the street, so you were just going to drop me off at home on the way home. So we get off Toy Story Mania. We're walking over to Slinky Dog. We get in line, and as we get in line, Eric texts me that he's outside. And it wasn't like like we were already pressed for time because it was like a 2-hour drive. The show started at like 6 or something. Like, we were pressed for time. It wasn't like a, hey, Eric, give me like 30 minutes and I'll be out. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like a, yeah, no, I have to go as soon as Eric says he's here. So, yeah, the first time I was supposed to ride that ride, I did not get to ride the ride. I had to step out of line and say goodbye to Grace, and I had to go so we can go to the NXT show. So I was a little salty about that. I mean, not necessarily salty, but I was more just bummed about it because I was like literally right in front of this thing, and I had to get out of line. But then, yeah, obviously I went back and rode it. So, yeah, long story short, fun ride, and it has a little bit of Theo and Kyle lore in there. So, yeah, my number 3 should actually really be higher, but the 2 that are above it can't be touched really. So my number 3 is an honorable mention for you. My number 3 is Space Mountain. Woo! I absolutely love this ride. For years, I was terrified to go on this ride. I was like, hell no, not a chance. My mom, who again is not a rides person, would be like, it's really not that bad. Because I think she had ridden it before, like when she was younger or something like that. She's like, it's really not that bad. I was like, nope, not happening. At some point, I think I went to Magic Kingdom with Pepperfield, and he coerced me to get. There's a lot of rides that I've ridden for the first time because Pepperfield was like, just get on it, bro. Don't be a pussy. And I'd be like, fuck, he challenged my gangster, so I'm going to have to do it.
He challenged my gangster.
Yeah. So, literally Dinosaur, Space Mountain, Rock and Roller Coaster, I rode for the first time because Pepperfield was just like, bitch, you're a bitch. And I was just like, well, fuck. Thankfully, though, he tried to do that with Tower of Terror, and I was like, yeah, you can call me a bitch. I don't care. I'm not getting on there. They're fucking right. So, yeah, ever since I had ridden it, I think the first time I rode it was like 2018, 2017, something like that. But ever since I've ridden it, I have fallen in love with that ride. I love it. It is so simple. It is so easy to think of this ride because it's just such a simple ride, but it is so good. And I feel like it definitely would not be as fun if the lights were just on. Like if it was like a ride where the lights were on or something like that, it would not be as fun. It would still be fun, but the fact that the lights are off and you just have to give your body to the ride. That's all it is. Like you have to sacrifice your soul
to come to the
Space
mountain.
Yeah, this is really all it is. Like you just have to give in. You and me have ridden this multiple times, but I would say the most recent time was probably maybe the funnest because
I
it's
really
just-
want to tell the story. I have to tell the story. It's
All right, go
so
ahead.
good from my point of view. I'm sorry. So this is the same trip where it's like Gracie, Leah, Maddie, me, Logan, Kyle. We're all going there. We're all riding Space Mountain. Leah, Grace, and Maddie are in one car. You, me, and Logan, your cousin, are on another car.
this was also the second time I had ridden it for the day because we had ridden it before you
Right.
guys got there.
Logan was in front of. I think we were in the front car. Logan was in front of me. You were behind me. I was in the middle, and we're riding through the whole thing. It's dark. We're getting whipped around. I think I have to duck at one point to like inadvertently duck because I feel like my head's about to hit one of the
Yep.
other rails above me, which I think always
Every
happens.
time I ride that, I ride it like this. I generally will just kind of hold on to the latch. I hold on to the latch bar and I duck down. Because I'm like, I got to make sure I don't fall out and I got to make sure I don't hit my head.
I think you and me are doing our Dutch and Arthur thing again, as we usually do on roller
Yep.
coasters at this
Yep.
point. We ride it. We get to that halfway point where it kind of like evens out and like slows down a little bit before it goes through the rest of the ride, as most roller coasters do. And
Yep.
Logan in the very front yells out, "I don't know how the fuck Frankie rides this." And I don't remember anything between that midpoint and the end of the ride except just me crying laughing about what Logan just said.
So now I got to give context on who
You
Frankie
got to give the
is.
context of who Frankie is, yeah.
So for those that are listening, a friend of the podcast, good buddy of mine, and Theo's, Mr. Dave McKittrick, good man. He has a home care business, and one of his clients' names is Frankie. And basically, Frankie is in a EVC. He's in like an electric chair, because he doesn't have he can't walk. Like he has some function of his legs, but his legs are so, I guess, weak that he really can't do anything. Because even if he were to stand up, he would probably break his legs. Is unfortunately what it is. But he also only has like one working arm. The other arm is kind of like, stuck. So basically, we went one time and me and Dave ride this damn ride. We love it. Even though Dave has back problems, so I don't know why he's riding this damn ride. Because then he'll ride it and then he'll be like, "Oh my god, my back." So yeah, we like to ride it, but anytime we've gone to Disney, we have Frankie with us. We don't really ride it because we don't want to just leave Frankie to himself, even though he would probably be fine. So one time, I don't know how this happened, but one time Dave coerced Frankie to ride it with us. Now, again, he has no use of his legs, and he only has one working arm. So anytime that we do go to Disney and we have to ride rides, Dave has this, it's called a transfer vest, which is basically like just a vest that he puts on that has handles on it, and Dave has to essentially put him into and out of the ride vehicles, which some are very easy and some are not easy at all. It's a pain in the ass. Space Mountain is definitely one of those that's not easy because it is so low. And again, it's not like you can't walk but you could stand. It's not like that where he could at least go, "All right, Frankie, let's stand you up and we'll figure it from there." No. So Dave has to essentially take him from his seat and has to hold him and then put him down all the way down there. So that in itself is just insane. But yeah, so somehow he convinced this poor kid to ride the ride who only has one working arm. So like I said, where even though I've ridden the ride 1,000 times and I know what's coming, I still do that. I use both hands to hold on to the thing just in case it were to pop open. I want to at least hold on to it so I know I'm still holding into something. The kid has one arm. So yeah, so that was the biggest thing where he was definitely terrified and said he would never ride it again because of the fact that I said to Dave, I go, we really didn't account for the fact that everybody that rides this ride holds on to the lap bar with both arms to feel secure, and this poor kid physically was only able to hold on to the lap bar with one hand. So that's the long story short is it was definitely not a good idea. We definitely messed up, and I think we both felt pretty bad afterwards because he definitely he looked like he had seen the fear of God put into him. Once we got off of the ride, but that's where Logan screams out, "I can't believe how does Frankie ride this?" Because in reality, yeah, once you think about it, it is insane that this kid was able to ride this. So yeah. Long story short, yeah. But in general, Space Mountain, one of my favorites. I love it so much. I have very good memories of riding it with Pepperfield, with you, with Grace. That was another thing where Grace, for a while, was very scared of rides, wasn't a ride person. And there's still a lot that she won't ride, as well as I. There's a lot of stuff that I'm like, I'm good. I don't like the, crazy coasters. Like, if I Busch Gardens, I don't even bother going to, because, half those coasters I just won't ride. Because I'm like, I don't like how high that is in the air and things like that. So Grace, not a big ride person, but for a while there, we would go, and she kind of had to just trust me. There was a while where I was like, Grace, it's really not that bad. You're gonna feel stupid that you wouldn't ride it when you get off of it. So there was a time where I did, for the first time, I got Grace to go on it, and it was one of those things where I'm a pretty comforting person, so I kind of put her in the middle, and I sat behind her, and I didn't do this. I kind of kept my hands on her shoulder to know, throughout the ride, hey, I'm here. Don't worry, I'm here. We're good. Just to comfort her and make sure, she was okay. Then she got off the ride. She was like, that was the best ride ever. I can't believe I've never ridden that before. So, yeah, in general, just have a lot of memories with you, with Grace, with Pepperfield, with Dave and Frankie. So yeah, that's my number 3, Space Mountain.
That's a great number 3. My number 3 is my Space Mountain Rock and Roller Coaster at Hollywood Studios.
Hell yeah.
To me, this is essentially the same thing, in where it's that dark coaster that just whips you around. But I like it a little bit more because it has that Aerosmith backtrack to it, which is fucking awesome. It has that jump start thing. I don't know what you would exactly call that.
I hate it. A launch.
I love that shit. I love that shit. I love the jump starts like that shoot me straight into the fucking dark void of Aerosmith rock and roll. I'm zooming around through fucking random ass road signs that have rock and roll tones to them and whatnot. I just recently rode this again with my friend at Hollywood Studios, and this was after the park closed, so luckily it was less of a wait because most people were watching the show or whatnot, and so we were able to get on there, I think in 40 minutes or something like that, and we had a fucking blast. I had so much fun. I channeled in my inner, I don't know if it's Lloyd or Uncle Heath, but I was just making stupid fucking noises the entire time. And me and my friend were just having a great time on that ride. I very much so enjoy it. I know it's getting that Muppet re-theme soon, so if it does skyrocket to the number 1, there's probably a reason for that.
I was just about to say, yeah. I'm pretty sure once they change it over, it's going to be your number 1.
It's taking that top spot.
Yeah, I can definitely see why. Yeah, I enjoy the ride. It's a good ride. I've stopped riding it. I don't like the launch. I don't like how it makes me feel. I feel weird when it happens. I don't like it. But in general, it is fun. I just kind of had to stop because it is jarring. Even if you enjoy the ride, you can't say it's not jarring. You definitely come off that ride feeling a little crazed, a little fucked up. So I just kind of had to stop riding it
at the end of it.
Yeah, I had to stop riding it because I couldn't do it anymore. But I've ridden it 4 or 5 times. I think that's enough. But it is a very good ride, and I'm intrigued to see the Muppet retheme. I think it's going to be even better because no offense to Aerosmith, but in big 2025, I don't know who's really caring about Aerosmith that much.
Yeah.
Especially anybody that's getting on that ride, they're not getting on that ride because it's an Aerosmith ride. They're just getting on it because it's a good coaster. Whereas when they change it to Muppets, still going to be a good coaster, but I feel like there's going to be a lot more people that are going to get on the ride because of the theme of the ride,
Right.
So yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think it's a good ride. It's definitely, I can see why it's up there. Yeah, my number 2. It's a big one. Oh, it's a big one. It's a big one. It's a big one.
It's a big one.
It is Rise of the Resistance. That's
my number 2 is also Rise of the Resistance. So I think we could just
our two. I think our two and
our
one
top 2 are probably going to be the exact same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Rise of the Resistance. Again, we're huge Star Wars boys up in this place. We love Star Wars. So when this was dropping, I was definitely when all of Galaxy's Edge was dropping, I was super excited. The first time I went to Galaxy's Edge was with Theo and Dr. Eric Christopher. But this was before Rise of Resistance was open. So we just kind of explored. I built a lightsaber. We rode Smuggler's Run and whatnot. But yeah, Rise of Resistance. First time I rode it was actually with Dave and my dad. So again, when this was coming out, I was hearing the rumors that there was going to be some sort of drop tower aspect of this ride, and I was shitting a brick because I was like, I guess this is going to be the Star Wars ride that I can't ride, because I was thinking it was going to be insane. Spoiler: right. It's really not insane. It's pretty calm. The actual drop part in the escape pod at the end there. But the way they were explaining it, people were explaining it. They were like, "Oh, it's going to be this huge elevator shaft that you go down," and I'm like, "Nope." I was like, "I guess I'm not riding this ride. Fuck." So yeah, I remember we were staying in Dave's timeshare. We were going. I don't even know. Like we, for some reason, boys trip. I guess the three, me, my dad, and Dave went to Disney. We spent like 2 days at Disney. Went to Magic Kingdom one day. Went to Hollywood Studios the other. So we were in the timeshare, and this is when you had to get a boarding pass.
Right.
I woke up, and I wasn't even really gonna try, but I woke up. You had to do it at like 6:30. I woke up at 6:25. Just randomly woke up at 6:25. Didn't set an alarm. Just like body clock just woke me up. I was like, well, I guess I gotta try. Somehow, some way, I got number one. I got the first boarding group, which Pepperfield was like,
oh, yeah.
Obviously that happens, but he was like, that's like winning the lottery. Like nobody, like it's rare to get the first boarding group. So I was like, wow, that's crazy. But the issue is then we had to get the fuck up because we had to be there at like 9 a.m. So yeah, basically I remember we were going there, and the whole time I was going through that queue, I was shitting a brick, bro. I was so nervous because again, I didn't really know what this drop thing was. I had seen videos, but I still was like, I don't know. I was just in my own head. We rode that ride, and yeah, never looked back. I was like, yeah, that drop was nothing. Just in general, the theming of the whole ride is incredible. The idea that as you're going through the quote unquote queue, it doesn't feel like you're going through a queue. Like, obviously the first part, yeah, but once you get to the part with Rey and BB-8, after that, you don't feel like you're still going through the line, but you don't feel like you're going through the line. You know, it's like because they just make it all part of the show. So yeah, just incredible. The whole ride, the theming, everything. Once you, like, I feel like everybody has the same reaction when you get off of the transport and you're in the hangar with all those stormtroopers, and you just see how big the hangar is and whatnot. Everybody has the same reaction of like, holy shit, like this is too much, like this is crazy. So yeah, just in general, that ride is top tier. You and me have ridden it together once or twice, I think. I've ridden it when we went when me, my mom, Logan, and my uncle went on the Star Cruiser. When you go into Galaxy's Edge, you get a lightning lane for that. So we rode it when we went on the Star Cruiser. I've ridden it with Grace. I've ridden it with Pepperfoot. I've ridden it with everybody because I'm just like, you have to, like, Grace again. She's more into Star Wars now, but for years didn't care about Star Wars. And I think when she rode it the first time, still didn't care about Star Wars. But I was like, no, like you have to ride this ride, dude. It's so good. And then she came off of it being like, that ride's incredible. That's awesome. So yeah, just an incredible ride.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you pretty much hit on the hammer there. I don't really have much to add to what you said. You kind of really nailed every single portion of it. The ride itself is very fun. The queue is very fun. That opening room is incredible. I would love to see Rachel's reaction to that, because I think that would just be like a very holy shit moment for her. Because I think she's like starting to creep into the Star Wars realm a little bit. Because I think she was watching a little bit of Mandalorian and whatnot, which is a pretty good introduction to Star Wars, I'd say, over a lot of other things. But yeah, definitely a very fun ride. I think this was my top ride for a little while. I mean, you and me have like the very same experience of like Star Wars Land, of going there for the first time, getting like very overwhelmed with how like high detail it is and immersive it is, and all that other stuff. And this ride is no exception to that. It's insane how they really kind of, this ride and a few other rides, how they really make it work, especially with their cues of just like the grandness of it all and the showness of it all. It's definitely very good. It's why Disney is really one of those like top, or the top like theme park people in the fucking world, because they're able to do those grand scheme things.
Yeah, 100%. They didn't spare any expense when it came to that ride. I know there's a lot of problems with that ride because I have a friend. Well, it's more so a friend of a friend through Pepperfield, but I'd still say he's a friend, Scotty, who I don't want to dox him here. I don't want to get fired, but he works on Rise of Resistance, or at least he did. I'm not sure if he still does, but he would just say like there's so many. It's so technologically advanced that there's so many problems. It's crazy. Like the guns towards the end, those guns that are shooting, those things haven't worked in like 5. Like they worked the first week and then broken. They haven't been fixed. Like there's a lot of stuff, but I think that comes with the territory of paving the way. You know what I'm saying? Like you're changing the landscape. There's gonna be issues. You know, so I get it. But yeah, just a top tier ride. And I don't see it changing for either of us anytime soon. Like I think it's gonna be up there for years.
This is gonna be on our top 5 for a good while, at the very
Yeah.
least, if not just ever.
Yeah. So our number 1, I think, is for you and me both. The Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster. This I was waiting for you to be like, wait, it wasn't.
It wasn't Hall of Presidents? Wait a second.
Yeah,
what are we talking about?
I was looking for what the hell is it? The damn show in Tomorrowland? Forgetting the name. It's a great big beautiful tomorrow or whatever the hell it is.
The
Never
Carousel
mind.
of Progress?
Yes. I don't know how I blanked the name. I was waiting for you to be like, wait, it's not that. All right, so number 1,
It's not
Guardians.
Muppet Vision 3D? Wait, what are we talking about?
Yeah. So Guardians coaster, another one, just top tier ride. I would say theming wise, Rise of Resistance has this beat just because of how insane it. Like the queue for Guardians isn't that crazy, you know. But the ride itself is just top tier. From the visuals on that ride to the actual ride itself, with the coaster carts that turn you to make you face certain directions and things like that. Absolutely incredible. First time I rode this ride was with Mr. Theo there. That was the first time we rode it, and it's got to be like core memory in the Theo Kyle lore. Like that has to be one of the ones that's etched in stone, because we had such a good time. And like Theo is you've worked on it, but you're not like a huge sentimental, emotional person. You're not like a huge emotional person, or at least you for the most part aren't. And the fact that we got it almost made me cry. It makes me a little emotional now. When we got off that ride and you just looked at me and you were like, I wouldn't have wanted to ride that with anybody else, dude. It made me. I'm getting teared up now. Like it made me realize,
I think that, man. I mean, I really cannot imagine anybody else to ride that with anybody else more than you. I mean, this like Guardians has been like one of our biggest things for like over a decade now at this point. Like so to be able to ride that with you first and share that experience, I think was like that. It all the dots connected together like perfectly. Like the stars aligned pretty much for that memory to happen.
Yeah. And this was also the birth of the stupid Dutch and Arthur thing.
Was this it? Was it?
Yeah,
I think it was. I thought it was
I feel
Slinky
like-
Dog. Okay.
No, bro. I feel like it was Guardians, and if it wasn't, I'm rewriting history to make it so. Just because. So again, I'm not a big coaster person. I don't like the launch on Rock and Roller Coaster, and Guardians has a backwards launch, which I didn't know if I was gonna enjoy that or hate that more. So again, I just had a ton of anxiety. We were there. We met up with Dave and Frankie, who they weren't with us the whole day. I think they just met up with us for a little bit and whatnot. So we met up with them, and we had to kind of rush out. Dave, I felt so bad. He bought us snacks, and he surprised us with snacks or whatever, and we were like, we're not going to be able to sit and enjoy this. We got to go. I think you drank that horrible grape shake on the way there or something like that. But yeah, so we went, and I definitely was having like a little bit of an anxiety attack or something like that. Cause I was definitely just nervous. And again, like I'm the biggest overthinker of all overthinkers. So something that's so small to someone else will sit in my brain and fester. So I'm sure that from the moment we decided, hey, let's try and get those boarding passes at 1 p.m. From the moment we did that, I'm sure for the rest of from that moment, I was just like terrified. And just thinking about it. So, I remember being nervous, and I remember walking through the line and telling you like, hey bro, I'm not going to lie. I'm a little scared here. And you were just like, nah, man, we got this. We got this is before like,
I was like, there's no turning back. I'm not going to let you turn back on me on this.
Right. And, this was before locking in was a phrase, but you essentially were like, we got to lock in, bro. We just got to lock in. Let's go.
Yeah.
So yeah, then we got on it, and I remember I've said this to you. I've said this to my mom. It's such a stupid story, but it's not. When we were getting on the ride and when we first kind of took off and they show you the Guardians talking on the screen, I had a moment of like, fuck, there's definitely no turning back now. And as soon as I saw Rocket and I saw Star-Lord, I was like, if I die with the Guardians. So it is what it is. Like, you know, I was just like, the Guardians ain't gonna let me die. So, and from that point on, I was just like, once I realized that, and I just like, the Guardians in general are such a comfort thing for me. Those movies and those characters I just love so much is such a comfort thing for me. So once I guess associated my comfort, I'm trying to find the word. Like once I associated my comfort side of Guardians within the ride, I was okay. And once the launch went, I was like, we're good. And then we just had the time of our lives, just screaming out Arthur and like I say it's our Arthur impression and our Dutch impression, but it's just us saying each other like Arthur and Dutch's names in their voice. That's all it is. We're not like giving a full performance.
It's so stupid.
Yeah, we're not giving like a full crazy performance. We're literally just screaming Arthur in Dutch or Arthur's name to each other. That's all we're doing the whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah, incredible. Just a really good experience. I will say, even though I enjoyed it, if that ride, every time I ride it, when you get to the end and you get like the message from them or whatever, every time I've ridden it, I've gone, man, if that ride went 30 seconds more, I would have threw the fuck up everywhere. Every time I get like
less a little bit. I think it's like a 2-minute ride or something like that.
And the thing is, I think I get the motion sickness because the screens, and they tell you like, don't tense up. And every time I tense, like you're supposed to just be free flowing, and that's how you don't get motion sickness, I guess. At least when you're looking at a screen and stuff like that. Every time I forget and I tense up, so the motion sickness gets me to where when we get to the end of it, I go, man, if that thing went 30 more seconds, I probably would have threw up all over Theo here. So, thankfully, that didn't happen. So I've ridden it. I think I've only ridden it twice, actually. I rode it with you, and then we went back another time, and I rode it with Dave and Frankie. And that one, actually, it went way better than Space Mountain. Frankie actually really enjoyed it, but the thing is, that ride is not a rough ride. You don't have to brace yourself, really, for anything.
Right.
Like, once you get past the launch, because the launch, you might have to brace yourself of, I'm about to get thrusted back. Other than that, you don't have to brace yourself for anything. Again, Dave has those back problems, and that ride is so smooth that he got off the ride and was like, I feel totally fine. And he's like, I love that ride because you get like maybe not the thrill.
I don't mean to cut you off here. I'm sorry. Someone is knocking at my door like a lot. I'm gonna entertain the masses for a minute. I gotta find out what this is.
All right, you gotta figure that out. So yeah, just in general, just a fun ride for Dave. Again, he has back problems, as I see Jack just get like shot and thrown across the room. No, so he has back problems. He really enjoys that ride because he got off of it and he didn't feel anything. He didn't feel any back problems because it's that damn smooth. It's just a really good ride. The theming for the queue is not too crazy. It's not like Rise of Resistance. It's not even like Flight of Passage with the animatronic. It's kind of just the first room you're in is just like a random room. Second room you're in was kind of like an exhibit, which is a little cooler. But then the third room is probably where it's fun because then you start getting into the pre-show aspects and whatnot. And there's the room that changes or whatever. Like you're looking at one thing and then you're looking at the ceiling and it's all dark and then the room completely changes, which is pretty insane. So yeah, just in general, it's really, really good. As Theo returns back to his podcast,
fucking windshield salesman. I've never seen this motherfucker before. I don't even know how that even works, but I don't want your windshields, buddy.
All right.
So
all right, yeah, I was just explaining like it's just really good and whatnot, but I'll let you dive in.
Yeah. I want to start out by saying that we fucking definitely won the lottery on our first ride because we got fucking September as our song, which is like the best song out of that whole like track list that we could get, at least in my opinion. Everything after the launch is almost kind of like a euphoric blur for me because I just kind of remember singing and dancing along the entire time. Like there's definitely like a few parts, especially like when you're like going around the moon and stuff like that. I was like, holy shit, is that the moon? But yeah, I mean, it was just bliss from like start to finish. I was definitely like having the time of my life on that ride, especially with you, and getting you to lock in. I don't know if you exactly mentioned it during the queue when you're in that like they put you in that room and then the lights go out and then they come back
I
on.
literally just mentioned it.
It's the coolest shit I've ever fucking seen because everybody's staring at the door that like closes you into it, and then the lights turn off and then they turn back on. You're like, what the fuck is this, a wall? And then you turn around and you're like, holy shit, space? What the fuck?
Yeah, it is crazy. And we had literally, it is funny because we legitimately were shook. Like, how the hell did they just do that? And then I looked it up and I was like, it's so anticlimactic. We're like, how did they put us in a whole different room? And then I looked it up and it's like, yeah, it's just a fake wall that they pull out of the way. Like, here's the
That's
screen, here's the fake wall, and it just goes, zoop. That's all it does. So yeah, not too crazy, but I do remember we were like, how the hell are we in a totally different room? It definitely took us off guard.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, it's definitely our top ride for a reason. I think it's just very fun from start to finish. This is a ride that I got off it. We went to the merch store and I'm like, I'm buying something. That's how good this ride was. I want some memorabilia from it, and I do have. I think it's back here actually. My Guardians hat.
There you go. There it is.
From the ride.
His Pride Guardians hat.
My Pride Guardians hat. It's a very dope hat. I would like it a lot. It's one of my favorite hats.
It is. It's really cool.
Because it's based off my favorite ride at Disney, and a lot of great memories coming from that. I can't wait to ride again, whenever that may be.
Yes, sir. The one downside of that ride is Rocket's voice actor.
I hate
horrible.
it so much. I don't.
Horrible.
I don't get it.
Yeah,
so bad.
Very bad. But yeah, in general, just a top tier ride. That's why it's our number one. So our list for me: Star Tours, Haunted Mansion, Space Mountain, Rise of Resistance, and the Guardians coaster for Theo.
Flight of Passage, Slinky Dog Dash, Rock and Roller Coaster, Rise of Resistance, Cosmic Rewind.
Beautiful. Here we go. So that is our episode. This might be our longest episode. We're at an hour and 21 minutes.
God damn, it did
might
not
be
feel
our-
like it.
It might be our longest episode, but it did feel like it kind of flew by. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you want more Disney or Universal content, we're going to throw it in every once in a while. But if you want more, leave a comment so we know to maybe prioritize it a little more than we would. You know, shout out the WNRN for being our gracious podcast hosts. There's something I wanted to mention for anyone that's listening to us that may not know too much about the WNRN. It is a kind of podcast umbrella. You know what I'm saying? It does have multiple podcasts, but it also has championships, real life championships. There's technically one behind me with the WNRN OTS Project Championship, but there are championships that are defended in the ring. Currently, the WNRN All Florida champion, I believe, is Top Dollar, Mr. AJ Francis. So if you see him on a show and you see the All Florida Championship, make sure to check it out. That is a part of the WNRN. And the Internet Championship as well, I believe, is held by, I think it's Mr. Ron Bass Jr., my boy. Theo doesn't know him, but Theo should definitely look him up. I think you would enjoy his work. So same thing. I could be wrong, but I believe he currently has the Internet title. So if you see him on a show with that championship, make sure to check it out. So I just wanted to put those over real quick because it is a really cool idea. You have a championship that's defended not in the ring, but you have two championships that are defended in the ring pretty regularly. So, yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there. And again, thank you to the WNRN, Mr. Jesse, Chad, Zach, all y'all for kind of welcoming us in. You can follow me anywhere at OTS Bridger as I choke on some saliva. You can follow me at OTS Bridger on X, Instagram, things like that. You can also follow my YouTube. I fell off, but I want to add some more videos. Like I said, I might do a video predicting my evolution card for this summer. You can check out Mr. Theo at OTS Bebop on X, exclusively on X. Don't look for him on Instagram. You probably will find him, but he doesn't want you to find him, so don't look for him.
I don't want you there.
So yeah, with that, we will see y'all in the next episode. Thank you.
The girl.
All right, special post credit scene because Theo brought something up as soon as I hit stop. Theo brought something up, so we have exclusive post credit scene to our already longest episode ever. So Theo, go ahead.
Just like an MCU movie. So this is about the Rise of Resistance ride. This was, I think, the second time we rode this. This was after I had drank some rum from Oga's Cantina, which was very delicious, by the way. we were riding this ride. It was you, me, and it was like Eric and a few other buddies of his. We all like kind of met up and then rode Rise.
Road Rose.
Road
Road to
Rose. And the entire time we were going through this fucking queue, you went up to every single.
It wasn't Eric. It was Pepperfield.
Oh, it was Pepperfield. Yeah, my mistake.
Yeah.
You went up to every single cast member on this ride. It didn't matter if they were Resistance or if they were First Order, and you would just be going, "Have you guys seen Watto? I'm looking for Watto." And in my head, I just keep telling him, I'm like, "Dude, Watto is definitely dead by this time." He's like, "Nah, I'm looking for him. He owes me money." And I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" We get they usher us into that prison cell thing where the Resistance like busts you out, and like they shut the doors, the lights kind of go out, and Kyle just goes, "I don't see Watto in here."
Oh well, if anybody wants to, I guess discredit my comedy, you can't, because that shows that I am funny as hell. That shows I am funny as hell.
Kyle is cracked with the comedy.
Yeah, I don't know. It just I don't want to dive into my psyche here, but like I just constantly want to make people laugh. You know, that's my goal in life, is just to make my friends laugh. So I constantly, and this is more so with you than anybody, but I do it with everybody, but more so you. I just constantly am improving things. I just come up with something and I just say it. So yeah, I just thought like I'm just gonna start asking people where Watto is.
I thought it was the most insane thing ever. I was like, what the fuck?
So yeah, I just started asking people where Watto was. I'm not gonna lie though, I have a little bit of a bone to pick, because we're in Galaxy's Edge. We're in a land where the cast members are encouraged to play, and encouraged to go along. Not a single cast member played into my hand, and I know the First Order people are supposed to be mean, but even the Resistance people I asked did not. Like, they gave me dirty looks when I was like, "Have you seen Watto anywhere?"
The Resistance doesn't fuck with Watto, buddy. I don't know what
Not a single person kind of played into it and was like, Watto, I don't know, I've never heard of this. Who is this? Or, Watto, I think he was here a few weeks ago. Not a single person dove into that. So that low-key pissed me off a little bit.
The Resistance people break us out of that prison cell, and they're like ushering us into the cars, and you're just like, Watto must be this way then.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up, because I thought that was probably low-key the funniest part, was like, once you get broken out, it's supposed to be like a, go, 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 rush, rush, rush. And instead of rushing, I just stop and ask the cast member, like, hey, you think Watto is this way? Or, like, we're in an emergency situation breaking out of a prison cell, and this dumbass guy is just like, I'm looking for this little blue flying fly guy. You know where he is?
He owes me 20 credits.
Yeah. So, yeah. Just a small, quick little post-credit scene that Theo thought of there. A little post-credit discussion.
It was too funny not to bring up. It's such a good story.
So, yeah. Officially, though, check us out on our socials. Stay tuned for next week's episode, and we will see y'all later.
And